Welcome to Two Humans Talking, the podcast where we discuss the challenges of staying healthy in today's modern, fast-paced world. I'm Tiffany Simms, your burnout recovery expert and high performance coach. And today I am so excited to talk about my eye health, which may sound silly, but I'm so excited to talk about eye health with Orit today because I was sitting there the other night. I was scrolling Netflix and I realized I couldn't read the fine print on my television. And so then when we were talking before we pushed record on the show today, and you were saying like glasses aren't people's only option. And I really hope to just educate people on other alternatives. I was like, oh, I'm all ears for today's conversation because I'm 39 and I want to be able to see the fine print on my television. And so, Ori, do you mind sharing with the people who you are, where you live, what you do, and just letting them get to know you a little bit?
So, hi, thanks, Tiffany, for having me. My name is Orit, and I live in Barcelona, Spain. And I teach people how to get rid of the glasses or reduce their dependence on glasses and see well again with their own eyes. Strangely enough, like any other part of the body, the eyes can heal. Strangely enough, nobody knows about it. And we kind of think that the eyes only go downhill, like, some machine that only gets broken with time rather than our body. That's, this amazing self-healing organism that has to do with the way we live, with our habits, with our emotion, with stress, with, so many things around us, and can, get better, get worse. And for some reason, people always think that eyesight only gets worse. So that's kind of it's kind of strange that we got convinced of that. But
It's true though.
It is, isn't it?
It's true. I'm not even kidding you. It was like 2 nights ago. I called my mom and I was like, well, this is some crap. And she was like, what? And I was like, even when I was squinting, could not see the letters on the television for typing in my Netflix password. I had to ask Jeffrey if that was an I, an L, or an exclamation point. I could not see the gap in it. And she was like, welcome to old age. You should start saving now so you can have eye surgery like I did.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started about the eye surgery. But well, the thing is, there is no age limit to glasses. There's no planned, obsolescence to eyes. There's no reason for you to use glasses if you're willing to change your habits and learn what your eyes need in order to get better. I have students who wore glasses for 30 years. I have a student who wore glasses from age 40 to 70. And then at 70, she discovered that eyesight can be improved. And she was like, I want that. And now she doesn't use glasses. She was using the multifocal, thing. But I mean, and I wore glasses from age 8 to 38. I'm 52 now. I don't need glasses.
Okay.
So
talk to me about this. I want to know, like, what triggered you to start saying, I don't want to wear these anymore? What are my options? Like, what's that story? We'll start with that. Like, what's that story?
What's that story? Well, actually, it started with my back. I had back pain. I had chronic back pain. Doctor said, that's what you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. And then I went, to some osteopath, and it was gone. It's gone. It was gone. It's no longer bothers me. So then I was like,
Hold on. What did they do differently for you?
They just, stretched it. It was kind of like, osteopathy. They work on the, they stretch and give more space and work on the body. It's like body work.
Okay.
Somebody is like pressing on you. Anyway, they had a solution that the doctors didn't. The doctors said, make good friends with these painkillers. And I didn't. So it occurred to me that if and then the osteopath was saying, oh, the body can heal itself. The body can heal itself. For me, that was like, huge news. I was like, really? The body can heal itself? But then when you think of it, of course, the body can heal itself. It does so every day.
Yeah.
You fall and you hurt yourself and then it goes away, and you have, a headache or you have a cold and then it goes away. Most of the time, the body's healing itself.
Right. You
And then
scratch
I
your
was like,
hand, it scabs up, it heals, creates new skin. Never knew
yeah.
you scratched yourself.
So, and I was like, but what about the eyes? Why are the eyes so lame, badly built, kind of,
Why are they lame? Why are my
super
eyes so lame?
important for survival organs? It's like, who's gonna make it without eyes in the wilderness? Not so many people. So that's weird, right? So
That is
why would eyes be so like badly, built? I was like 8, and from age 8, I couldn't see like very well, and it just became worse and worse. Well, so I was like, this doesn't make sense. I'm gonna look for someone who says something different. And so I found the Bates methods, and and then I fell in love with the Bates methods. I left, what I was doing at the time, which was I was a translator, and went to study that because it was just so amazing. I was like, people have to know about this.
Hold on. I'm done obsessed about it, so I just have to ask. Translator. So, how many languages do you officially speak?
Officially 5.
And how many can you interpret for? Because I feel like speaking and then understanding can be 2 different things. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I can translate from I'm not like an interpreter. I don't you don't like you speak to me English, I can't, say this. I can, but it was not my job. I was a literary translator. I translated literature from Spanish, English, Catalan, and then whatever else I could read, to Hebrew, which is my native tongue.
That is so cool. And it's so fascinating, that correlation too, because like as a translator, your eyes are really important.
Right.
That like
I'm
you
really
can't.
tired.
Yeah, and
Because you sit
they're
so many
taking a lot
hours.
of strain. Like they're working really hard.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Okay, sorry. I'm such a
No.
little curious Nelly over here. All right, so
Awesome.
what is the Bates method?
The Bates method is this. There was this guy, this doctor called Dr. Bates. He lived in New York 100 years ago, and he was an ophthalmologist. And he, would fit people with glasses, like everybody else does. And he would tell people that glasses don't. That eyesight never. You can never regain your eyesight, until one day, a person came to Dr. Bates, and his eyes that needed glasses the last time didn't need them anymore. And Dr. Bates was like, what? And then it started happening, and people just spontaneously recovered. And Dr. Bates said, well, this is weird. If people can recover from, nearsightedness, farsightedness, presbyopia, which is the old age thing, then why aren't we investigating that? And why aren't we finding out how we can
Yeah.
systematically have people, cure their eyesight? And so he started doing that. He investigated a lot, and he found out how it's done. In like just one word, it's about relaxation. It's about relaxing the eyesight, relaxing the eyes when you're looking, while you're, looking at things. But then he was at the time he was teaching ophthalmology at the university, and he got kicked out from every place. He was just like, people were like, nope, 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 nope. Eyesight cannot improve. This is just wrong. And he was like improving people's eyesight, and he just got kicked out of science.
You know,
He became
so
like known as a quack.
that is fascinating to me because I am very science minded. Like I have a bachelor's in biology, biochemistry, a minor in environmental studies. I've worked for Johns Hopkins and the National Institutes of Health. I was a nuclear chemist for 12 and a half years, like very sciencey.
Mm-hmm.
And that fascinates me, that science is supposed to you're supposed to make hypotheses and then test them to prove them right or wrong. And when new information comes in, I feel like as a science person, that excites me for new possibilities of new trials and testing to form new hypotheses. And so like as a science person, it is very like it makes me sad that, and I think it happens more often than we realize, of like the science community going, nope, we're not going down that route because we're really comfortable in what we know and we don't want to disprove the things that we thought were true before with this new information, so we're just not going to go there. And it's like science, like people, should be allowed to evolve. As we learn new things, we can challenge things and look at them from a different angle. And I think that is just what life is, because I see the world very differently at 29 than I did when I was 18. See, that, no pun intended. But like that's based off of my experiences and the information we had and the world we lived in then versus the world we live in now. And so that's just, I, now that I'm saying it out loud, I really think it's more common than it is to reject new ideas
I
because
think
it
it is because
disproves our comfort zone.
exactly, like science is made out of people, you know, and people have like social norms and agreements between them, and science is like a system, like a human system. It's not a scientific system. So science can say, oh, we're not going to investigate that because it's not scientific, which in a way doesn't make any sense because you can investigate anything, right? It's like, oh no, you know, whatever, that's beyond the realm of science. But science is just supposed to be a way of looking at things, like the repeatability,
Yes.
you know, the, you know, whatever, the principles of what makes something scientific. Yeah. So Bates was actually a scientist. He has this, his book is dedicated to showing his investigations and his experiments, and he's really like debating with the scientific community. But the scientific community was just not willing to talk to him. They're just like, no, 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 that's not scientific. You know, eyesight can, you know, it's like an axiom. It's like our starting supposition, which to us is facts, like word of God. This is like, you know, no argument about that eyesight cannot improve. So whatever you're saying is not only wrong, it's just unscientific and you're like a weirdo. So they really rejected him. And he was a very respectable scientist. He had developed like some hearing operation that's still in use today. He was like a scientific genius up until the point where he decided to start teaching people how to improve their eyesight. But then rejected from the scientific community, he found out that really you don't need to be a doctor in order to understand how to improve your eyesight, because it's really very simple. So he just taught it to whoever would learn. And that's how people, you know, carried it on to this point in time. Occasionally we have like the problems with the ophthalmology, and there was a big, one of his students called Margaret Corbett had a big trial because she was accused of practicing medicine without a license. So there's always this like tension between the Bates people who are improving people's eyesight and the medical establishment, which is saying you can't be doing that because it's impossible. And so you're...
Is it nutrition based? Is it like...
But no, it's a habit. It's the way Bates would do it is habit based.
Okay, cool.
By the time we've, you know, traveled 100 years to the present, people do it in all sorts of ways, because eyesight, like any other thing in our body, is affected by so many different things that you can take each of these, you know, routes to improve your eyesight. You can take the nutritional route. It's not my way. I work a lot through the emotional route because there's a connection between our eyesight and our emotions.
I remember reading, you had shared with me that your eyesight can be linked to your anxiety and your depression and a lot of mental health stuff.
Yeah.
And since you work in the emotional realm, do you mind sharing a little bit about that specifically? Tied together?
Well, the When we work on eyesight through the emotions, our working assumption is that not seeing well is a defense mechanism. So what you're doing is trying to create more calm for yourself or create a safe space for yourself by not seeing. For example, if you're a very sensitive person and you see a lot of anger around you, or you see a lot of conflicts in the family or in society in general, and you feel you can't handle it, or if you're bullied as a child, if you feel rejected, if you feel that your place has been taken. So all these things can make a person decide they need a safer space, and that safer space is achieved in a way by seeing less clearly. It lowers the volume of the world like in your face. Then you put on glasses and the world is in your face anyway. But internally, that's the mechanism. So when we go through the emotions, what we do is we go and we find all these things that the blurry eyesight is helping us avoid or helping us feel safe from. We recognize them. We thank ourselves for having had this, care with ourselves, having kept ourselves safe in this way, although now it may not be what we want. At some point, it made us, it's enabled us to survive. So
Evolutionarily, that makes a lot of sense though, because if I was about to be attacked and mauled by a bear in the wild, I probably don't want to be able to see that. And so your body, knowing that the trauma of something like that would be extremely traumatic on top of the pain and stuff. Because like when they say when traumatic events happen to you, like truly traumatic events, like being eaten by a shark, people lose their vision like before it happens, or their body numbs it out and that part of it isn't stored in the brain. And it's because that's your body's way of protecting you from being able to relive such a horrific moment of time, because they know that you wouldn't be able to survive. It would send you to the loony bin, I guess. I don't know about that part's true, but evolutionarily, I can see how that mechanism.
yeah, there are a lot of mechanisms that have to do with sight. Some of them have to do with danger and have to do with like tunneling your vision, where you close your vision over what's like dangerous. It's like somebody's pointing a gun at you. You can't see anything around. You only see the gun when it's a danger, right? So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that happens. But there's also this, it's called hysterical blindness, where you totally lose, it's like sight disappears when you're in this like traumatic experience. So that happens. But usually what we're talking about when we're talking about eyesight is either trauma or just stress. So if we think about stress as like constant, like low intensity threat, and that can be like physical threat from people who have violent households, but it can also be emotional threat, like people who are suffering bullying, people who are being ridiculed at home as like, part of the fun of the family, or a lot of things. And so there's a really interesting investigation that just asked people if they remember anything that happened that could be like a trigger for their loss of eyesight a year before they noticed that their eyesight is a problem, right? And 80% of people can recognize something like, oh, we moved house and the new school was very complicated. Oh, my parents were going through a divorce, some death in a family, like a birth of a smaller sibling that took all the attention, or something that happens. And not necessarily it's like a huge thing, but for that person in that moment, or like for people with presbyopia, like stress at work or at home. So all these things can cause this loss of eyesight. But especially if you put on the glasses and you stay with the glasses help you fix your eyesight problem. So eyesight is really changing. It's like anything else in the body. Like one day you wake up and you're like, ooh, I'm going to run a marathon. And the next day you wake up and you're like, ooh, get me coffee, right? So like we don't have a stable performance. It's not like, tomorrow I'm going to go win the gold medal in athletics or something. If today I was just like, eating potato chips in front of the TV. But there's like a lot of variability in how our body is day to day. And that's the same for the eyes, right? So if you have this thing, you have this like emotional problem, this stress, and then, it goes away and you didn't hook yourself up with some glasses, then most probably you'll just not need glasses. And a lot of children, for instance, who at some point were diagnosed with or prescribed glasses, the naughty children who didn't use the glasses, a lot of them don't need glasses. But the good girls like me who are told, put on your glasses and you have to wear them all the time or else your vision is going to get a lot worse. So I went from like the 125 diopters I started with to 8.5 diopters when I was 38, when I decided to take them off. So really the glasses kind of fix the problem, and through changing our seeing habits, make the problem worse. Because if you imagine like walking with crutches, you don't use the legs in the same way you do without the crutches. So the crutches are not really good. They're good for resting the leg if it's broken. But afterwards, you have to like go back to stepping on that foot, because if not, the crutches, there's no point in which the crutches make your legs run again, right?
Yeah, I'm following.
So if you stay with the glasses are the crutches. They don't help you see correctly again. So you're just like stuck there. And that's why so many people are stuck there.
How do you bridge between, because some people's eyesight is really bad, and without glasses, it's a hazard, right? They cannot see. And so like, how do you bridge that gap between solely dependent on your glasses and being able to give your eyes the space and time and the reps, if you will, to build strength to being able to see again on their own without assistance?
Well, first of all, most people don't see as little as they imagine. I mean, I had 8.5 diopters, which is pretty high, but I have students who have 18 diopters, 15 diopters. And even they can walk outside without their glasses on. So people have this, like, people really love saying, oh, I don't see anything. I can't see anything. I can't see a thing. And that's what I believed when I used glasses. I remember one day I broke my glasses. No, I tore my contact lenses. And then my glasses were somewhere else. And I had to go to that somewhere else. I had to cross Broadway Street in New York to get to my glasses. And I thought I was going to die. I thought, some truck is going to like crush me, even though I was like standing on the sidewalk. But I had this idea. It's like, no glasses is the equivalent of death. And then I was like, can I see the cars? I can't see the cars. But of course I could see the cars. Cars are like pretty big things.
Shapes, colors, shadows.
Yeah. So like we live in a pretty, like most of us live in a pretty non-dangerous place. And it's kind of, but we have this feeling like if we don't have perfect eyesight, we're not going to survive. And it's mostly not true. So that day I had to cross Broadway. I couldn't see the color of the traffic light. I could not. That was too blurry for me. But I could see what other people were doing, and they were not crossing, and these things were coming, cars. And so I just waited for the other humans to start crossing. And when they crossed, I assumed it was the green light, and I crossed, made it to the other side, and got to my glasses.
That's a risky assumption you're making there, lady.
Yeah, I know. But if
following the herd right off the cliff.
I know, but they seem to be doing fine. They were very confident. No, but I mean, there are a lot of basically, I don't tell people to take off their glasses when they're uncomfortable or when they need glasses. I'm just saying there are a lot of moments that you don't need glasses. For instance, if you're going to have tea with a friend, you don't actually need to see, every little, pixel of her face, or every little detail. You can just listen to her voice, and you'll be more relaxed without your glasses. On the other hand, if you're going to like a job interview with a serial killer, then maybe you want to make sure that you see exactly every like twitch of their mouth, So people just tend to go like,
go to lunch with, go to interviews.
I don't know. It depends on the job, right? If you were offered a really good job by a serial killer.
Your analogies, they're the best. And I am so enjoying this conversation.
But I mean, so there are a lot of most people can wake up and make their breakfast without putting their glasses on. Now, of course, if you have snakes on your floor in your house, or whatever, tarantulas, then you want to put on the glasses. But most people can find the fridge to make the toast or whatever they eat for breakfast without the glasses on. And then you can walk out of your house because you know the way and walk to the bus stop. And then if something is coming and it looks like a bus and you don't know the number, you can ask another human. Most of them don't go, ha, I can't believe you can't see that. Ha, you're so ridiculous. Most of them will go, no, it's the 49. It's very, humans are much nicer than we think. Or you can just put on your glasses, see it's the 49 and get on it or not. So we just kind of assume that we need the perfect vision or the augmented vision the glasses give us all the time, but we actually don't. Okay. A lot of the time, we can just give our eyes a rest while we're improving vision. And then also, I do, if you start with 15 diopters, I'm not going to say chuck the glasses. I'm going to say you can make an intermediate glasses that are like a little less strong. And as you improve, you lower the glasses, the prescription of the glasses. It's a gradual process.
And so, how do I want to ask this question? So is your eyesight better now than it was when you were wearing glasses, or is it that you have just acclimated that it's okay that everything's not crystal clear, or both?
No, it's definitely better than, wow. Yeah, it's definitely better than it was when I was wearing glasses. I remember the first pair of reduced glasses that I made it was from 8.5 to, I don't know, 7 something. With the glasses on, I went out and I could not read the street sign, but I was okay. That's fine. But now I can read the street sign, and I see pretty clearly. I don't see perfectly clearly, but I see.
That's really cool that your eyes were able to regenerate.
Your eyes are able to do it. Everybody's eyes are able to do it. That's the thing. It's like so normal. It's not a superpower at all,
So how long does it, I know everyone's journey and is different because every human is different and they're starting at different places, but for you, how long did that take for you to transition from your super strong glasses to being able to see as well as you do now?
That's kind of hard to answer because I'm still improving, but it took me about 3 years to totally lose the glasses, to not use glasses anymore, not own glasses anymore.
I think that's really important to share because I think we, at least in America, we live in a yesterday's results world where everyone expected their results to happen yesterday or it didn't work. And so having realistic expectations of a process, I think, is really, really valuable.
This is definitely not a instant thing. It's not.
As it shouldn't be. You shouldn't expect it to be. But sometimes when you're in it, it's is this really working or am I wasting my time? And it's I have to give it time to actually work.
So most people can see the first results, can see better almost instantly, but it doesn't last. So if you imagine that you came to have a session with me, you would probably already in that session, from the beginning of the session to the end, see more like letters on the eye chart. But maybe these letters will like come and go. So that gives you a clue that your eyes can do it, but you still need to like stabilize it.
So it's kind of like unlocking the little blocks, the micro blocks along the way. So I'm a very visual, imaginative person. Everything turns into like a comic strip or a cartoon in my head. That's how I see the world.
And then some people actually do. I mean, I think the record is for a woman who came and in 3 sessions got to perfect eyesight. But she was not wearing glasses. She was just beginning to see blurry the like the old age thing. You're beginning to see blurry the text, and she had been seeing blurry for about 2 years, and she didn't get to actually getting the glasses. And then in 3 sessions, working on emotions mostly.
You just answered my other question. I had 2 questions. One was, how do you approach the conversation where someone says, like, I'm not wearing glasses and my eyes are going, so like, what voodoo are you telling me about? And then the other side of that is like, well, how do you do this for a child that comes, because a lot of children now, they're noticing, have really horrible eyesight when they are developing in like at 1. And so you see a lot more toddlers with glasses these days, it seems like. And so I was just curious, like, how do you have that conversation with someone who may be skeptical in either of those scenarios?
I just know that I can't help anyone. So if people are not prepared to get this help, then I can't help them. I don't even try. I'm not, this is not my religion. It's just, you know, the thing I do, and people can have different opinions. And I'm very, very much interested in people knowing that they have a choice, but if they don't believe it, that's fine. I just don't do it. I'm not saying you have to do it.
Yeah, no.
So I don't actually.
So you don't have the dialogue or entertain even the conversation.
The thing is, if somebody comes and says, prove to me that you can improve my eyesight, I will say no. Because the thing is that if someone believes they cannot improve their eyesight, they're right. On the other hand,
whether
if someone believes
you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Exactly. So if someone believes they can improve their eyesight, I can show you how. But I'm not playing that game, you know? It's not about that. But, you know, there's a good Bates story about that. He was quite a character. So Dr. Bates, the inventor of the Bates method, had this other physician who had an eyesight problem, and he would come every day to Bates's office and argue with him about his method and why it's wrong and why it's not going to work and why it shouldn't work. And then one day Bates said to him, you know what? If you want to improve your eyesight, instead of thinking of all these reasons why it's not going to work, try thinking of the reasons it is going to work. And this man very quickly improved his eyesight, this doctor. So
I love that. I love that. So well, first, before I ask you that question, if someone's interest was piqued and they're like, oh my goodness, I need to connect with this woman. I want to learn more. I'm very curious about this method and this approach because, you know, I'm tired of wearing my glasses. Like, how do people connect with you?
Okay, so I have a website, which is I See Clearly with an eye of like me, not the eye of the eye, iseeclearly.org. That's also the name of my book. I have 2 books. One is for children. It's called I See Clearly, and it's an illustrated book, you know, with the activities of the Bates method for children. Children love it. And I have another book for parents because I found out that children easily understand my first book, but parents need some more information because they have the responsibility. They're, you know, taking the decision. So my other book is called Play Your Way to Better Eyesight. And you can get it on Amazon or anywhere.
I will put those in my podcast shop. I will link them there. So I'll make sure I drop that in the show notes, as well as you guys can go to the podcast page on my website and grab those books in the shop there. I'll put them there.
Awesome. So yeah, my second book for parents explains the method in a way that's good for parents, meaning it's short and clear.
We all need that.
Yeah, no, I mean, some people like, to get all the complicated information. And I mean, I read a lot of eyesight improvement books because I love to read. And I'm very much interested in, like, the nitty gritty and the science and the psychology and all the different ways that people can improve their eyesight. But if you just want to get like an overview of it and understand it, then even if you don't have kids, you can still Play Your Way to Better Eyesight, because I also play with adults. So I think playing is the best way we have of learning new things for our brain.
It's curiosity.
Yes.
And I think that's why kids are sponges, because they're so curious about the world. They really are just exploring new ideas and trying new things out to see what happens.
Exactly. And that's the best way to regain your eyesight, by curiosity, by exploring the world, and with these guidelines of what good vision habits are, which are relaxation, movement, and detail. That's it. I just explained the whole base.
Say that again.
So in order to see well, you need to use your eyes in a relaxed manner, moving from one detail to another, and noticing the movement around you. And that's the Bates method in one sentence.
That was awesome. I was like, wait a second, say that again. I need to write that down. And so, okay, I got distracted. I was asking how people can connect with, real human right here. I was asking you how people could connect with you. You had said the iseeclearly.org, that you have two books that I will link for you. I know we talked before we hit record that you had a little guide that was really good to share with people.
Yeah, I do have a workbook that's about the connection between your eyesight and your emotions. It's called Through the Lens of Emotions, and it's just you can download it for free. It doesn't have a very good link, so we'll have to you can find it through my website, and I see clearly it's there. But and that's a workbook just for you to try and look through that lens of emotions at your eyesight problem, when it started, what is helping you to do, and it's kind of opens the space for you to talk to your eyes, which is what I do. I talk to people's eyes. So
I am so excited to download that. I'm a very curious person. And so I'm like, oh, I want to dive into this a little bit, but in a safe rabbit hole kind of way. Because I don't know about you, but I can very easily have one question and then 7 hours have gone by and it's I should come up for air.
Yeah.
I completely derailed myself, but I've learned so much.
I mean, I think it's pretty good to be curious and to play with thoughts and ideas. And I think that's the way adults play.
Yes. If they're open to it. And I have found that a lot of adults are they've become really rigid. And I think that's part of the lack of joy that we see in the world, the lack of empathy that we have, the lack of that feeling of this is just the way it is. And it's because people have lost that curiosity of exploring new things because they think they know what they know, and that's just what reality looks like. And when we take that step back to see that everyone's reality is a little bit different based off of the experiences that they've had, you learn to get really playful and curious about things, because you realize that nothing's definite, and that everything with this little tweak, just like you were saying with the eyesight, this little tweak, this little change in perspective gives you a completely different experience.
And I think for me, a lot of adults are so used to having to do like what they need to do, what they have to do, what they should do, that they forget about what they want to do, and they can't even hear their own voice that's saying this is what I would like to do, because they have this like to-do list and to-be list and all these lists of things that are kind of expectations from the outside. And children have that like in a much like until the age of 8, more or less. Children are really like me, what I want to do this now, and then I don't want to do this anymore, I want to do this now. And if you try to interrupt kids with like lunch or having to go somewhere, then that they're like, no, I want to play with this now, and now I don't want to play with this, and I want to do this. They're like very definite about what they want to do. So they hear their voice very loudly, and they don't hear society so much. And then at a certain point, we change. We're like, oh, wait, mom needs me to do that, and my brothers and sisters also need that. And we kind of shift the balance, but then we fall over into the other side. We're like, oh, society expects me to do this, and my parents expect me to do this. And you kind of forget about your inner voice. And I feel that people who improve their eyesight really reconnect with this internal voice. I mean, because it has a lot to do with this regaining your curiosity and your own like hearing this, what do I want to do? I had this woman come the other day. She's like very serious, very strict person, also a very good person. She's always helping everybody. She's always like, this kind of like the person that everybody's calling all the time to do things that, and we were talking to her eyes, and in this process of discovering the emotions, she was like, she had this image of her rollerblading or skating. She's like a 74-year-old woman. She was like, oh, it was so fun. It was so freeing. I used to skate. I used to love it. And I was like, why don't you skate anymore? And she's like, oh, come on, I can't do that. And I was like, why can't you do that? And I don't know if she's skating this week, but she said, oh, my granddaughter skates. And I was like, go skate with her. Slow, easy does it. Just find that joy again. And she was just like, oh, no. And I was like, why not?
Why not? I love that. Why not? That's how I live my life. Truly, awesome. It is. It's like, why not? When someone says like, why are you doing this? And it's like, well, why not? Because it's going to be hard, because I might fail at it, because someone might make fun of me, because like it might not result in the results that I thought that I wanted in the beginning. Like, who cares?
Right. But even the results, I mean, why do we want these results? What are we ultimately looking for? What is this, like you say, oh, I want this business to go very well because I want to have money, because I want my parents to respect me, because I want the neighbors to think, la, la, la. Like if you keep like stripping away these, like, why do you want it? At the end, there's like, either you want recognition, or you want joy, or you want peace. There are like these really basic things that you can just have right now by doing what you want. So just,
and then it's like, well, why not?
Yeah. Skip the other part. It's just like, okay, I have this, dream. I want to do this. I'm going to try. It's going to be one certain way. It's going to be an experience. Don't try jumping off a cliff, but, just doing the things you want. It's so revolutionary.
And sometimes it really, and I won't go too far down the rabbit hole in this, but you were saying like, you can have the joy now, you can have the success now. And some people, cynics and skeptics, are like, well, if you can do that, then why do the other thing? Like, if you're seeking the joy, if you're seeking the acknowledgement, if you're seeking the whatever, and you say you can have that now and just be that now, then why go through all the hassle of accomplishing whatever the thing is? And it's like, because there's so much joy and satisfaction when you look back, knowing that you did hard things to get where you were. Like, you're like, oh, I did that. Like, wow, I'm awesome. I figured that out. I didn't have all those pieces. I went on this journey. Like, and it feels so good to do something sometimes that's hard.
Right. But doesn't it? It's like when you complete a puzzle, when you have an athletic achievement for you, not for, gold medal. Any of these things, like the process is hard, but it brings joy. It's
It
something
brings
that's
joy.
joyful. I think it's much more joyful to be challenged. It's much more stimulating and interesting than to be
Yes.
like in bed all day.
Yes.
Although if you love that, go ahead.
Like,
You know,
I'm sure it would have been easy for you to continue wearing glasses the rest of your life. And having learned that you could regenerate your own eyesight and putting in the work and going through the process of letting your body heal itself, I'm sure was very like satisfying and felt like like, oh yeah, like that's really cool. And maybe I'm putting feelings on you that don't exist, but I feel like that's how I would feel. I'd be like, I am a badass. Like, go me.
in a, in a sense, yeah, I'm doing something that's impossible. That's pretty cool, like a superhero. But I mean, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's very possible, but everybody else thinks it's impossible. But the other thing is that eyesight and any improvement in your eyesight really brings more joy and spaciousness into your life, because eyesight is related to your emotions. And for instance, nearsightedness, which is what I had, has to do with criticism, perfectionism, judgment. So a lot of that falls away in the process, even sometimes before you can see clearer. And it just allows you to do more things and enjoy more things. So for instance, I used to be a really, kind of perfectionist, high achiever kind of person. Now I really enjoy doing things I'm kind of bad at, but I just enjoy them. For instance, I love playing basketball. I'm really bad at it. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying it, but I'm actually great. No, I'm really bad at it. Or, I love dancing, but I'm really not very coordinated, but I love it anyway. And I do it. And I think before I took off my glasses, I would not have allowed myself to dedicate time to something that I'm not like super good at. Because there are things I'm super good at. I'm a good writer. I'm, whatever. There are things that I do really well. But taking off my glasses has allowed me to enjoy the things that I love that I'm not especially gifted at. And I think that's a huge thing.
That is so cool. That is so cool. So as we wrap up our chat, is there anything that you wanted to share today that maybe we didn't touch on, or any final words that you want to leave the listeners with?
No, I think we talked about everything. But I do want to leave the listeners with this idea that the body in general is a living organism. It changes all the time, and it can heal, it can improve. There's no reason why eyes would be different. There's just no reason. There's no other part of the body that you would say only goes downhill. And even from, like, what did you say, a very young age. So, and it doesn't make sense that we're all, faulty in our eyes, because okay, like a very small percent of the population could be faulty, but the deterioration in eyesight in the past like 50 years has been huge. It's got to be our lifestyle, so it's got to be reversible. So you don't have to stop using the glasses or anything, but just know that there's another possibility. That's the only thing. Know that there's an option. Gives you freedom.
Good. So good. And I am so excited to dive into your workbook. I just love things that like help me think differently than maybe I've thought before. So I'm so excited about that. With that, everyone, this is Two Humans Talking. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.